Master Level 1 upgrade. Alright. Hey guys, Justin here from RC Bros 2000, and today we are finally putting in a replacement clutch bell, and this was donated to me by Coyote0976. The one that is in here now has been bent because we have a steel gear in there, and well, things just didn't go out too well. So we got this, and he gave me this to replace it. At the same time, I will be replacing the steel one in there with a plastic one. Now, I used to fling through these so many times before I put the steel one in, but I can't keep a bent gear in there, so I gotta put this in, and luckily I found this lying around. And yeah, so without further ado, let's get it in there. Now, before I get started, I will let you guys know I do have a roll of toilet paper and Q-tips on my side. The toilet paper was donated to me by Coyote0976. I'll be using both to clean this RC while I take it apart. This RC is extremely dirty, so prepare to see some oil and dirt. Alright, first off, I am going to remove the Easy Start wirings. This is just to help simplify the process and just get out of the way. I'm going to have to remove the wires that go into the motor, which just come right on out. Butt red is on top. Then I'm going to remove the glow plug lead, which should just come right on out. Like that. And then finally the ground wire, which is attached with one screw, which can easily just come right on out. With the engine wires removed, now I can move on to the fuel line and pressure line. All I have to do is remove this from the carburetor and then this from the exhaust manifold. There we go. There we go. Alright. Alright, next up I'm going to be removing the dual exhaust system, and it just comes right on off. Just like that. And then I can just remove the silicone pipe that holds it all together. Believe it or not, guys, this is by far the worst exhaust system I've ever run into. It leaks all over the place. With that off, I can now remove the Easy Start system by removing these 3 screws. Alright, with all those screws removed, we can just remove the engine right off from the chassis. And okay. Well, this explains a lot. We have a broken engine mount. How this happened, I do not know. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed. Alright guys, there is the broken engine mount. Yeah. Well, I don't even know how this happened. Well, guess that's another part I'm going to have to try and replace. But for now, I'm not going to be planning on driving it, so yeah. For now, I'll just stick in there. Alright. And I just cleaned up the engine and put it back together a bit. Yeah, this engine mount is going to have to get replaced. That's just the thing that happens with 17-year-old RCs. Things tend to break that you don't notice for a really long time. This is probably why I've been stripping plastic Spur gears in the past. So, with that figured out, I'm going to have to get my hands on a new one or I don't know. Maybe I might as well just upgrade to 2.5. But alright, so now let's get this clutch bell off. First off, we need to remove the Jesus clip that holds it on, and I just use this little tool to get in the hole and just work it out. Work it, come on. There we go. I just have no clue where that is, but good thing I have spares. So this comes off, it's got a bearing left on the whole thing, and yeah, alright. So with this off, we can put it off to the side. Alright, I had put in the new ball bearings. I could not put in the old ones that were in the old clutch bell because it was too small. Next thing up, all we have to really do is, up there's the end. All I have to do is just put on a Teflon washer with the clutch bell, and followed by yet another Teflon washer. Then we just take one of the Jesus clips they provided us with, and we put it on just like that. With that all on, we just it is time to put this engine back on the car. But I can't do that yet. First I have to replace that steel spur gear, because that is as well as bent and it's just too big for the RC. Alright, so to drop the transmission to get to the spur gear, I'm going to have to do a few things. Mainly, I'm going to have to take off the entire rear end of the RC just to get to the transmission. First up, I'm going to remove the muffler mount as well as the rear shock tower by removing just these two screws. Next up, all we gotta really do is pull the battery box out, and all the easy start wires can just come right out of the shock tower. Just gotta, there we go. There we go. I can set this all to the side as well. Finally, I'm going to do a little thing I do so that we don't have a wire going all the way around. I'm going to remove the shock tower, or the shock itself, so I can swing the battery coupling around and out of the way. Alright. Got the shock out of the way, I can just simply pull this off to the side so that there's nothing going to be holding the chassis together. Next up, I'm going to remove these two screws. They're at the base of the shock tower. Alright, before I go ahead and remove the rest of the rear end, I am going to quickly remove the link that connects to the rear, to the brakes. And all I have to do is unscrew that, rub screw a bit, and just slide all this off. Next up, all I have to remove left is 6 screws. These two, and these two. I don't have to remove these two because they do not hold down the transmission, and all they do is hold these little bulkhead things for the A-arms in place, so these don't have to come off. Alright, with that off, all you have to do is pull this up, and all the transmission just slides right off the back bulkhead. And now you have this assembly. Now it's very simple. All you really have to do is unscrew the 4mm nut on the clutch and just take everything off. Alright, with all the stuff apart, you can see that we have a 72 tooth inside the clutch bell. Now, this RC is not even supposed to be running this size spur gear. So, I just gotta remove it. Alright. Now I can set this gear off to the side. What I'm gonna do with it, guys, I don't know. I'll have to think about what I'm going to do with this gear. And now we can install the plastic one. So all I have to do is put the 12 pegs back into position, put the slipper clutch assembly block in, and yeah, just install it back the cloth spring and 4mm nut, and then the slipper clutch will be done. Alright, with the slipper clutch assembly back together, all I have to do is connect the half shafts from the tires to the transmission on both sides. I just got a subscriber while I was doing this. There we go. And then, dagnabbit. Stay in there, you half shaft. Alright. And then with that all I have to do is put this into the groove and slide it up, and it'll keep it in place. Next up, what I gotta do is I gotta position this in place like that, and then take the battery tray, slide it in place, and then screw in these 4 screws. With the rear assembly back together, next up all we can do is take the rear thing, put the sprayer through the rear chassis plate, and screw in the 4 screws that hold the whole thing down. Now before I continue, I'm going to take the battery pack and put it around there, and then put the shock back into position with the one screw, so that now I can continue on without the car sitting funky. Alright, with transmission in rear end installed, I can now install the engine again. Now, the motor mount or engine mount is still broken. I do not have a replacement for it. I'm going to have to figure out how to get my hands on one. Yeah, so I'm not going to, most likely I won't be able to run this car coming this weekend and week, because I got spring break coming up. And this is going to pretty much stop me from running this car, which is going to suck. But what it's gotta do is it's gotta do. Alright, this RC is gonna be held together with 4 screws. One here, here, under there, and then right inside here. You can't see it. Alright, so now with the engine installed and the gear mesh correct, all I have to do next is I need to put the pressure line that goes from the exhaust to the tank, put that in just like so, and then I gotta take the fuel line and do the same thing just right here. And now we can move on to the next part. Alright, next up all we have to do is reconnect the lines. First up, we gotta reconnect the brake line, which is all we have to do is just do this, a small silicone tube, and then finally the little piece that holds it on the end. Alright, next up I'm going to start feeding the easy start wires through the shock tower once again. One by one, they're going to go in. Alright. I'm just going to set the cap down, or the battery box cover down on the battery. Next up, I'm going to take the yellow wire and I'm going to screw it down on one of these screws that hold on the bumper mounts. And then I'm going to take, Alright, next up I'm going to take the yellow wire and I'm going to screw it down underneath one of these screws that hold down the bumper, or the engine mount. Then I'm going to take the blue wire that's covered in fuel line, which is very nice presentative to help protect this wire, I'm going to put it inside on the spark or glow plug. And then I'm going to just wait and put these on, the black and red ones, to put on the easy start motor when I get that part installed. Next up, we're going to be installing the easy start system for the 0.15, and it's held on with 3 screws, one here, here, and here, and it just goes on and sits right there. And they're the one-way bearing, which in itself fits on just like that. Alright, next up we're going to be installing the wires for the easy start. Remember, there's red on top and black on bottom, and they just slide into place like so. Next up we have to install the muffler mount, and as well as the body mount, and they just screw right into each other through the back and the front of the shock tower. Alright. Next up we have to install the muffler itself and the silicone tube that leads to it. For the silicone tube, all I have to do is slide it on the exhaust manifold and position it right in the front of the hole. And then all I have to do is slide this into position. Then there we go. That is installed. Here is before. And there is after, guys. Not much of a visual change, but believe me, it's going to be a lot nicer. And as well as I'm going to get a lot more speed out of this RC. Before I had a 16 and 72, now I have a 64 and a 20. So I'm going to have a lot more speed and a lot less torque. Other than that, yeah, all I need left to get this RC on the road again is new chassis plates, because this one is, like I've showed about a million times, it is still cracked. And as well as, now that I know, one of the engine mounts is cracked and broken. So that's 2 more metal pieces I have to replace before I can get this RC running. Man, I was really hoping I would have this RC running by the weekend, and my local hobby shop does not have both these in stock. I already called. And well, it'll take about a week for them to get them in an order in, and that's like a very special order because no one else has this truck in my area. So looks like I'm gonna have to order them off eBay or something. I don't know. Gonna have to make the money because it's a lot more expensive with shipping and everything. This really sucks, but no, that's done. There's one last thing I need to do. Before I do them, I just want to quickly say thanks a ton, Coyote. I've been trying to replace that spur and pinion for a long time, but I could never do it because, well, the pinion or clutch bell was my local hobby shop did not carry the right clutch bell, I guess, because every time it always seemed to be the wrong tooth. So thanks a lot, Coyote. I really owe you one. I really do, with all these upgrades. So alright, so I hope you all enjoyed this upgrade. It was very long and very complex for what was supposed to be. And that was Master's Level 1 upgrade. Transmission all in, I can now put the Alright, with the transmission now installed in the rear end, now I can just finally get the engine installed. Now if you guys remember, I did find out the... God damn it, dog. Maya! Shut up!